Psionics, What is Known, by Abel Burke, University for Psionic Studies and Criminal Research. From early on in the human timeline, magic has been closely linked with both the mortal realm, hereafter referred to by its academically proposed designation U111, and with humanity itself, though it is now known that magical properties did not originate in U111. Said properties have been so integrated with the human experience that many humans today show this connection in their genetic makeup. This paper aims to tell the story of said humans, called Psionics, and to clear up any confusion surrounding their origin or naturality. In order to begin telling the story of psionics, it is necessary to first mention that U111 is one of a group of 3 universes which sit in an expansive multiverse which has mostly remained unknown. These other 2 universes, the magical realm, hereafter referred to as U112, designated in order of discovery, and the godly realm, hereafter referred to as U113, designated in order of discovery, share the closest space in the multiverse to U111. And whilst the universe humans evolved in is known to be expanding, each multiverse group is hypothesized to be collapsing in on itself. This notion comes from the fact that U111 and U112 appear to be in the process of merging, and as stated by Todd Johnson, the great sorcerer, the magical realm and the godly realm have always been closely interwoven from the beginning of time. U111 and U112 were not, however, integrated from the beginning, and the universes did not begin to collide until around 150,000 years ago, when humanoid species such as fairies, giants, and sorcerers began to travel from U112 to U111. These peoples first traveled to southern Europe, but quickly, relatively speaking to the age of man, made their way to encompass the earth. Around the same time they entered Europe, sorcerers and humans began to intermingle. They shared tools, food, and clothes, and sorcerers quickly became an integral part of some hunter-gatherer societies. So it can be seen that it was only natural for sorcerers and humans to also share intercourse. Now, as the great sorcerer so eloquently puts it, ancient knowledge over years became lost in the wreckage of magical wars, and less sorcerers were able to travel between realms. And as sorcerers stopped coming over, but kept intermingling with humans, their descendants today who carry the magical gene no longer possess the same magical power as sorcerers who were born of only sorcerers. The oldest of these late sorcerer-human hybrids that would be recognizable as psionic today date from as early as 40,000 years ago. Whilst anyone can possess the magical gene, only the descendants with the gene turned on who show evidence of extraordinary abilities are deemed psionic. Psionics can show a wide range of extraordinary abilities, but to be psionic and not a sorcerer, per person, a psionic must only present up to 3 related abilities. A psionic may also hold as little as 1 ability. A point that needs to be made in order for one to understand that psionics cannot be suppressed is that those who have made attempts at suppressing their abilities have become sick or even dangerous to themselves in doing so. In the case of a man named Thomas Bierce, he had both telekinesis and its common comorbidity, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. In his book, Growing Up with a Psionic Mind, he tells the story of how, while he was going through school, he was not accepted for his abilities. He states that while his parents supported him, his friends often joked about psionics with more physical abilities and bragged about how they would harm criminal psionics who they saw on the news, which caused Bierce to feel the need to hide his abilities. Bierce goes on to explain how this was detrimental in that, trying to suppress his telekinesis, it, in his words, built up like a river behind a dam until the pressure was too much to bear. In the end, Bierce's abilities came out in a wave, upending water lines, downing trees, and striking a power outage throughout Tampa Bay. The author states that this situation caused fear in not just others but in himself as well. Bierce's story is one of many, and this is important to consider when trying to understand psionics. A stark contrast to this story is that of Zara Alia Furman, who grew up in an extremely accepting and encouraging home, whose father is most commonly known by his superhero name Apollo, and who was able to blossom into somewhat of a hero herself, under the moniker Songbird. Zara Alia is only 25 years old this year and has already made her way to becoming a semi-famous singer and saving over 10,000 people since beginning her superhero career at 18. While psionic abilities cannot be suppressed for long, they can be taught to both psionics themselves and non-psionics in order to better understand them. There are many schools that teach psionics how to properly handle and utilize their abilities, which come in the form of secondary schools, like the New York Institute for Psionics, universities, like the University for Psionic Studies and Criminal Research, and even preschools and daycares, like the early psionics centers across the U.S. As this paper wraps up, it is time to finally define psionics. Psionics can be defined as a person who is descended from sorcerer-human pairs and who possesses 1 to 3 related magical abilities. Magic has been closely intertwined with human existence for hundreds of thousands of years, and psionics are the result. Psionics cannot suppress their abilities for long, if at all, but can thrive in an environment that encourages one to use and learn about one's own abilities. Psionics are human, and psionics need to be supported.